Hello, welcome to the 629 program for GCSE English. My name is Jacob. Today I'm going to show you how it is possible to gain up to 3 grades in as little as 12 weeks through a group tutoring method. Hope you are excited. So we'll get started right away. Now, this method is for you. This method is going to be relevant to you if any of these things apply. So maybe your son, daughter, your child is struggling to improve their grade in GCSE English, and perhaps what they have tried doing before, perhaps the methods they have already tried studying alone have not worked. But it is important that you are prepared to think about this in a different way and realize that things may not have worked for a reason, and that now is the time to try something new. If you're in that mindset, this is going to be helpful for you. And it's also important you're thinking about the long term, that you are thinking about how getting these grades now is going to help your child in the future when it comes to applying for university, for a job, and it's going to help them for the rest of their lives if we invest in this now. So if you're in that mindset, and if these things apply to you, this is going to be helpful. We're going to be focusing on 3 things, and I'm going to show you 3 important steps. First of all, we're going to look at mentality and 2 big things that we can do to improve your child's attitude and the way your child thinks about GCSE English. That will then improve their performance as well. Secondly, looking at ways they can learn skills that they're going to need in English. And thirdly, how to apply everything in the exams and how to make sure that we have a detailed understanding of exactly how every single question is marked, so that we can apply those skills in the way the examiners need to see to actually get rewarded for it. So, as far as I go, the reason that I'm doing this, well, I graduated from Oxford about 6 years ago. I taught at a leading independent school in North London for a while, but right now I run the 629 program full-time, and over the last 6 or 7 years I have helped and been privileged to help hundreds of students to achieve better grades in GCSE English, so I am very glad to be able to share what I've learned with you. So, to give you some idea, some hint of what is possible using this method, some proof that it does actually work for students just like you, I've got a couple of examples here. On the left, one of my students here, her parents were telling us that after a few weeks, she was able to get the highest mark in her English class. And this was a huge change for her because when she began working with us, she was very shy, very nervous. She was worried about being in front of other students, didn't have any confidence, but she gained confidence so quickly after a very short time, after just a few weeks. It was really impressive to see. And on the right here, we've got an interview I did with one of my students, Bella, just a couple of weeks ago. And she worked with us over the last summer, June, July, August, and she was able to get quite an amazing result because when she came to us, she was at a grade 4. After 2 months working in the program, she was working at a grade 7 in the exact same topics. And she believes it was 100% down to what we did. You can see the interview with her. It's on our website and on our YouTube channel. But that should give you some idea of the kind of result that is possible with this method. So I'd like to make a very simple agreement with you, which is that I will promise to show you exactly how to go to that grade 9 or whatever grade you are aiming for to increase your grade by 2 or 3 and to get that result that you want and that future that you want. I'll show you the methods that I found work over these last 6 or 7 years, but you will need to take action on it, because if you just watch this video and then go away and carry on doing what you're doing, things are not going to change. Nothing will change unless you take action. So your end of the bargain is that you will take action on what I show you, and I will give you a way of taking action at the end of this video to get you started. So, you might find that you have some of these problems. You might find, or your son or daughter might find, that no matter how hard they try, they can't seem to do as well in English as they can in other subjects. English might seem different or harder than other subjects because it's not about memorizing facts, like science or even geography. It's more about learning these very general skills that are quite hard to make exact and precise and scientific. Skills like analysing and evaluating and writing imaginatively, how do you even practice those things? How do you revise? They might feel that it's not possible to revise. They don't know how to get started. You might also have problems with teachers not giving very clear and specific guidance. So the big reason for this is that English is very different to all of the other core subjects that you will do at GCSE level. It doesn't rely on how many facts you memorize. So students might think that they might think it's like other subjects. They might try to memorize lots of quotes from their books. They might try to focus on learning loads of literary techniques, and that won't get you past about a grade 4. That's the truth. Okay, because that knowledge is not what examiners are looking for. What they are looking for is your ability to analyze and evaluate the effect of specific features of language. And that you can't learn by memorizing. You can't learn that by rote. It's a skill you've got to train. So, students are often thinking, well, where do we start revising? Like I said, they try to memorize quotes, they try to remember things, they might use bite size or websites, but all these things have limited effect because they're not getting that practice, they're not getting that exposure. The students who actually get to those highest grades, they are doing all of the past papers, for example, several times, and they're getting guidance on them too, getting feedback on them. It's very difficult to know how to revise on your own. And teachers, although they try to help, although they're experienced and knowledgeable, often they don't have enough time to give that personal guidance that your student needs. So it's very difficult to actually know what they need to prioritize, know what your child needs to work on first. So most of these problems come from trying to do things on your own. So not having any guidance, not having any help, not having any support or community or any plan, and just hoping that spending enough time on the subject will get you the result that you want, that enough hours studying will be converted into grades, but that just doesn't work. The quality of that time is so much more important than the quantity. So a big part of this comes from working one-to-one, so only getting help if you do, working with a tutor one-to-one, and in some situations that can be useful for some students, but the problem is that it doesn't provide you with a clear path, because English is all about different points of view and different perspectives. There is no right or wrong answer most of the time. And so if you are just working with one person, like one tutor, you're not getting that range of viewpoints that will help you to generate your own ideas that are original, that are critical, and that are exploratory. These are all terms the examiners use to describe the kind of ideas you've got to come up with yourself. So you're going to be lost. You're going to be like the person in this video, not knowing where to turn, not knowing where to go, which direction to move in. Because you don't have that support, you don't have that community around you to give you advice and encouragement and motivation. You don't have any sense of competition or any sense of gaining confidence because you're actually in the same situation as others. That's what students like the one I showed you in that message earlier found, that realizing they were just in the same situation as other students gave them a lot more confidence. And it's very hard to get any of those things just working one-to-one. You're still more or less alone. The second problem is relying only on your teacher because, like we said, although they try to help, teachers don't have enough time to give you specific guidance. They don't have enough time to identify the exact things you need to do. So they might say, read more or improve your vocabulary. And those things are not very helpful because they're too general. And even if you do those things, it won't automatically get you to a higher grade. You could read all the books in the world. It doesn't automatically mean you know how to analyze and evaluate them in the way that GCSE examiners want. They might also say things like improve and deepen your analysis. But what does that mean in practice? What does that even look like? It's very hard to know what on earth you're supposed to do to implement advice like that. So that is why we have developed the 629 program, which can take students from, for example, a grade 6 to a grade 9, but it also is very, very powerful for students who are working at grades like 3 or 4 and aiming for a 6 or a 7. It's relevant to you too. So there are 3 real things that you need to get to those highest grades, and I've portrayed it here like a triangle, like a hierarchy, and the most important foundation here is the environment. You need to start with a good environment. That is why we do this through group tuition. Like I said, being alone is very hard. You need guidance, you need motivation, you need to share ideas. And so that environment is the community and the group that you are in, and you need to be surrounded by positive people, a movement of students who are all starting at the same grade and all aiming for the same grade and all really committed and motivated to getting there. Secondly, you need to have high standards. That is about consistency, that is about using your time well, that is about making sure that you are investing that time with a disciplined and structured approach to get the result you want. Just like you brush your teeth every day, studying needs to become equally natural and ingrained in your life. And then finally, the pinnacle of this is the strategy, how we take all of this discipline and all of this positivity and actually apply it to specific things you need to learn and approaches you need to take to your studies. We're going to take a look at the strategy in a bit more depth now. To give you some idea, though, of the kind of thing the students can achieve, so often they can go on, like we said, to get a grade 9. That means they're in the top 5% of students. It's very, very hard to do that. They can go on to get places at top universities, and then their whole lives are really improved by this. Because remember that those GCSE grades are going to be with you for the rest of your life. They're going to be the only thing that you will have when you are applying to university or to a college or for a job or whatever it is. Because you won't have A-levels, you won't have anything else when you come to make those applications. So they're going to look at your grades in all those core subjects. Whatever you want to do, whether it's anything to do with English or not, you will actually need to have strong grades in all the core subjects to have opportunities in the future. Otherwise, you might be overlooked. And of course, the lifelong benefits of clear communication in any area of work, writing and expressing yourself in a clear way are very, very important. So, if you get a pen and paper, we will go through the strategy that you will need to use. So, make sure you're making notes here. This part is going to be very important. The first thing, the first part of the strategy, the first pillar, is about assessment. The problem that students face is that very often they don't know their own weaknesses. They don't know which areas of English they're finding hardest. They don't know what they most need to do to improve. They end up like the person in this picture, not knowing which muscles are weaker and which muscles to train, and then they train the wrong thing. If you go to the gym and you train the wrong muscles and the wrong thing, you will spend a long time pumping metal, but you will not get results. The same thing applies to studies. You need to know where you are before you can begin making that journey to improvement. The solution to that is regular assessment that gives you a map, that gives you a path, that shows you what you need to do, where you need to go to get there. And so every single week, we show students exactly how they need to improve their work. Our tutors are all examiners. They send recorded videos showing their students exactly what sentences, what paragraphs they need to change, and how. The how is crucial, not just saying what to do, but how exactly to do it. Because we have that regular assessment based on exam style questions every single week, not intimidating students with exams, but the kind of question you would get in the real GCSEs. So with this method, with this regular assessment, students can track their progress, they can gain confidence, like the student on the right here, who after a week went from being unable to get started to feeling she could be an author, or on the left, students who were able to gain massive improvements in their grades very quickly, 6 weeks to go up by 3 grades, for example, because of tracking that progress and identifying exactly what they most needed to do. The second pillar is about skills. These specific skills you're going to need to learn for GCSE English. There are 4 main skills students often struggle with. Shakespeare, it's very hard because the language is obscure. It's a huge part. It's 25% of the whole of your literature exam. The language is so difficult, students often find it difficult to even know what he's on about, let alone how to analyse it. Poetry, which can be strange and obscure and alien and kind of weird, and it's often not clear how you're meant to explain the effect of poetry. Creative writing, students often feel they have no ideas and they don't know how to start. And then essays, students struggle to organise and structure their thoughts in a logical, coherent way. So, the only thing we can do, of course, is to practice all those skills regularly. But that combines with the assessment. You need that feedback and that advice on what you're doing to know you're practicing in the right way, to know you're getting better, and to know how to practice. If you're just doing past papers without any guidance, then that is not necessarily going to help you get better, because you're just practicing something, but you're not knowing if you're doing well or not. So that regular practice is what we help students to do, giving them that constant guidance on the practice they're doing so that they can improve all of these important skills, or whatever it is that you are finding hardest. Now, an example of this, an example of a method we use to upgrade those skills, one that is useful for creative writing, is something called the 5 W's. These are 5 question words. Who, what, where, when, and why. The problem students have is they think they don't have any ideas. They actually don't have any confidence because ideas are in your mind all the time. So we do an exercise where we tell students, okay, so who means, first of all, give me a name. Bob, whatever. The first name that comes into your head, it doesn't matter. So give me a name. Okay, describe this person. Okay, their appearance, blonde hair, tall, whatever. The first words that come into your mind, again. And then they need a personality. Okay, confident, optimistic, but also full of himself. And now we've got a character. And now you can think of what this character might do. So maybe he's a football champion and he gets into a fight with another player. We said he was full of himself, he might get into a fight. So now we've already got a what. And you've got the beginning of a plot of a story. And that can be done in just a few seconds. The whole process of answering these questions you can do in about a minute. And you've already got the basis of a story if you've answered those things. You've got a character, you've got a plot, you've got a setting, and you've got a motivation. You've got a reason for the action and for the events of the story that takes place. That's the why. And that teaches students that actually any idea is okay. The main thing is how they write about it, not that their story is something super original, because you're not going to be able to write something 100% original. The main thing is just that you're able to write about it in an interesting way. So simple ideas are fine, and the most important thing is simply to get started and be confident with the first idea that comes to your mind. So using methods like this and upgrading skills in this way, a lot of parents have been very impressed with the results their students have got. They've been very pleased with the clear and constructive feedback that we give. They've also been very happy with the lifelong benefits that we provide, the way in which we make sure that students actually are getting lifelong learning. We're not just leaving them alone after they've worked with us for 12 weeks or for 6 months or whatever it is, but we are giving them access, for example, like Claire said, to resources, the videos, recordings of their lessons, their notes, so they can go back and review it and continue to upgrade those skills and get those long-term, lifelong benefits. So we're always thinking ahead to the future in that way. Finally, the last pillar is the exams. This is the scariest, the hardest thing for many students. So what a lot of students find as exams cause them fear. And fear is destructive, because if you have fear, it doesn't matter how much you know or how good your plan or your strategy even is, you will not be able to apply it. You might know in theory exactly how to do the exam. If you feel overwhelmed by fear and you panic, you won't apply what you know. So you need to get past that fear. You need to be able to overcome it to apply your strategy. And so the only cure for fear is knowledge and understanding. It is actually knowing how every single question is marked, how much to write, what to do in each paragraph, how long it should be, and exactly what a perfect answer looks like. And so that's why we provide, for example, model answers for all the different types of question you can face. It's why all our tutors are examiners, so at every point we're guiding you on how you would apply it in the exams. It's also why all of the time we are showing students how to answer exam-style questions. And we are providing extra help with things like this. So, for example, this week we were doing a series of talks by examiners on exactly what comes up in all of the different papers and what the examiners look for and common mistakes that students make in every single type of question. If you get that kind of guidance, then your fear is going to be dispelled. You're going to be a lot more confident going into those exams. So, clarity means you've got to think the way the examiners think. Think about the criteria they use and how they feel when they look at your answer. They don't have much time to read it. You've got to make it easy and straightforward for them by structuring it in the right way. You've got to help the examiner to help you. So students who've been able to do this have really overcome their fear. They, as we can see here, they felt very confident, their parents have felt confident, and they felt assured they can get to that grade 9 or whatever it is because they've been able to overcome that fear of the exams. So really my question for you is, do you want to have that fear? And do you want to rely only on hope to get past it? Or do you want to have knowledge, which really cures fear, really brings light into that darkness, and understand exactly what's needed? Like anything in life, like scoring a goal, like shooting a penalty, you need to have a plan, you need to have a strategy, and just relying on hope is not going to solve the problem. So really, I'd like to congratulate you on making it this far. You may remember at the beginning of this video, we made an agreement, which was that you will take a bit of action. And so that's why I put a link here where you can take action. The action we are going to take is you're going to go to this link and book in a free session to speak with me or one of our teaching assistants, and we'll be able to show you how all these things we've talked about apply to your child personally. Although all these things, as you've seen, are tried and tested and work for hundreds of families, every student is different, and we need to know whether and how you'll be able to apply it if we really, really want to help you get better and want to help your child succeed in GCSE English and go on to have that great career or whatever it is in the future. And so this session will allow us to do that and show you how it works for you personally and find out if we can help you anymore. So if you're going to take action, now's your chance. The link is also underneath this video. You can go and book in and you can arrange that session. We're looking forward to speaking with you. We're looking forward to helping you. So really, I hope that you are not just going to rely on hope, but you're going to take action to get help so that we can make a plan for your child, get them the success that they need and deserve. So thank you for watching. I hope this has been useful for you, and I'm looking forward to speaking with you very soon when you take action and book in your free session. Thanks a lot.